everyone. Before we get started with another episode of Steven Says See or Skip, I wanted to remind you that this bonus content is open to everyone for the month of August, but starting in September, it returns to its usual tier for my Patreon free subscribers. If you want to access this episode starting on September 1st, head on over to Patreon and subscribe for free by providing a name and an email address. Yes, it's that easy. Today, I'm going to be talking about the movie Motor City, which was released on July 24th, 2026. And I'm giving this one an 8 out of 10. I'm going to do my best not to give any spoilers because it's a great movie, but there may be one or two just because there's a couple of things you got to talk about that maybe give a few things away. I do think this movie is so cool because it balances almost no spoken dialogue with these big adrenaline pumping action scenes. The silence isn't slow or artsy, it's tense. The action hits hard, and the energy from these scenes keep the pacing moving even during the quieter falling action moments. And, the prep time as we build to the next big scene. It's a film that speaks through motion, sound, and atmosphere, and it's not about what you say, it's all about how it feels. And let me tell you something, it works. One of the boldest choices Motor City makes is how little dialogue is spoken, but minimum dialogue, maximum impact. The entire film is carried by soundtrack, the score, and the sound design. It's almost ASMR, that sound appreciation, sensory focus vibe, but applied to storytelling. You're not listening to characters explain what's happening, you're listening to the world itself. And it's wild how effective it is. I actually saw this right after I saw Minions and Monsters, where I generally couldn't understand half the dialogue. And yet, Motor City, with almost no dialogue, connected with me instantly. Turns out, if you've got a strong enough story and the technical pieces are in place, you don't need characters narrating their emotions. You just need the film to trust its audience. Alan Ritchson was shockingly great in this. I I didn't think he had this in him. I figured he was just some muscle eye candy that studios were throwing into action flicks. But this performance is something else. When you take away dialogue, you're left with pure physical acting, body language, micro expressions, reactions, and he nails it. He carries entire scenes with nothing but his presence. Now, Shailene Woodley, I expected her to excel on this, and I knew she could pull it off. She was incredible in Big Little Lies, and she's always had this grounded emotional intensity. She fits perfectly into a film that relies on subtlety. She doesn't overplay anything, and she doesn't try to compensate for the lack of dialogue. She exists in the world of the movie, and it works. Although I will say this, she might have the most lines in the movie. I'd have to do a word count to confirm, but she's got a couple spoken lines and they were powerful ones, but the emotion of what was going on around it was already established. So it was almost a shock when we hear her speak because we've gotten used to the silence of it all. The 70s style flashback was perfect. It really helps set the era and you feel it immediately. In the cars, the clothes, the grainy textures, even in the music choices. And it's not nostalgia for nostalgia's sake. I've said it in the past, you can't build a movie just on nostalgia, but it creates an atmosphere. It builds the world and it's fun. The movie uses the 70s aesthetic to enhance the silent. Everything feels very lived in and tactile, and I just loved it. I did wonder while watching how much of this was actually scripted. When you have a film with minimal dialogue, the script becomes either extremely detailed, describing every moment, every movement, every reaction, or extremely loose, letting actors improvise their physical beats. Was it you walk in and react with surprise? Or was it you enter slowly, noticing the missing keys, pausing, your breath tightens, your eyes shift to the left and then to the right as you turn to look out the window? I'd love to see the screenplay just to understand how they built this. Did they give them a lot of direction, or were they given a lot of license and freedom to kind of bring what they saw to limited, um, I don't know, blocking, I guess it's called? That's what they call it in theater. I'm not sure if they use the same term in film. The themes revolve around jealousy, control, and revenge. And I think these are three things that therapists would never prescribe for their patients, but cinematically, it's golden. It gives the film the tension that it needs to hold our attention without needing dialogue. You can see these emotions playing out in the characters' faces, in the way they move, and the way they react to each other. It's storytelling, but through behavior. Motor City is a reminder that movies don't need to talk to be understood. If the story is strong, if the sound design is intentional, if the performances are grounded, you can strip away almost everything and still end up with something powerful. I give it an 8 out of 10. It's stylish, it's bold, and it is surprisingly emotional. This is Steven with Steven Says See or Skip. If you're into films that experiment with form and you want to see Alan Ritchson in a way you've never seen him before, check out Motor City. It is worth your time. I definitely recommend seeing it.